very much. We appreciate it as CTA officers and also those who are attending the session.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Saeed, the president of CTA, and thanks everybody that attends. So welcome to the presentation about publishing. The title, as you can see, is Publisher First: Successful Approaches to Successful Publishing in Applied Linguistics and TESOL. Because this is the English department at IUP, right, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. And we study, our major, you can say Applied Linguistics or TESOL, so that's what we'll be talking about today. When we talk about publishing, why publish in journals? Why? Why do we need to publish? Is it something that we really need to do, or is something that the society or the university, or what is that? What is that thing that, pushes us to publish?
For me, when I do some studies, I like to share my knowledge, the knowledge that I got from these studies, whether it's in my country or outside my country.
Okay.
With the literature review or study base, and then also it's building our research identity also,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I said, sharing knowledge, building identities. Anyone else? Yeah, so there are many reasons, okay? Or maybe the reasons for you to publish, are the same or maybe different from my reasons to publish, from someone else's reasons to publish, okay? We have the career, we want to publish because maybe we want to get a job, right? You've seen the people, the candidates that were here on campus last week. Well, the first thing they look for is their publications. Did they publish? If yes, where did they publish? What did they publish as well? So it's very important, the career, the subject development, as you said, like sharing knowledge, for recognition and self-esteem, it's also for own business. How's that? Because when you become famous, okay, well, when people email you, say, can you please guest speak?
Right.
And then you said, okay, yeah, I can do that. Or some people, they request money. Well, $1,000, $2,000 per one day. So it's also, part of it is business, actually. It depends on what you want. So the basics that I will not be talking about. So I will not be talking about that, but very quickly, very briefly, when you want to publish something, you have to be sure that you have a good paper, that you're satisfied with it, that you're content with it, okay? If you reach that level of satisfaction and you have very good introduction, clear logic, logically organized and complete methods, you have the results, you have relevant and robust discussion, and you think you really have something good, then you can go ahead and publish it. Not publish it, send it for publication, right? But if you're not satisfied with it, don't waste the time of the editors to just say, okay, let me send it and see what they will say. They will return it the next day. They will say, oh, we're sorry. And then they will know your name. So even if you work hard the next time and you send it, they already know your name, that you're a lazy person. So try to work on your piece before you send it for publication. Also, before you submit, it's not only you that can judge that piece of writing. You also need another set of eyes to look at it, to give you some feedback, to give you some suggestions for further development of your piece, right? So you ask your peers to read it, to give you some suggestions, ask someone maybe from outside your field to read it and also give you some suggestions. You also need to follow the format and submission instructions that are on the web page of every journal. Like, we will be talking about choosing the journal, but you can always go there and choose. Like after you choose the journal, you read what they expect from you, and please follow that. Write a cover letter. It's not only your manuscript that you will send, it's also a cover letter that you have to write and send it to them. You explain why you chose this journal. Why do you think this journal matches your paper? What is your paper about, and why you think they should consider it for publication? Okay? Okay. When you submit, or when you send a manuscript for publishing, this is the process, okay? So you submit it. They may reject it the very next day. They may reject it for like the very next week. Why do they reject it? Simply because it does not fit the scope of the journal. It's not a good fit for the journal, okay? You're in applied linguistics and you send your paper to a journal, biology, or they will turn red, even if you're in applied linguistics, and send it to a journal in applied linguistics but with different scope, they will also reject it. Or your manuscript may go to the next step, which is reviewing. You go to like the reviewers, they read it, okay, and then they either reject it or they give you some revision. They say, okay, well, how about this revision? Revise and resubmit. That's the other option. So you revise it and then you submit it again. When you submit it again, they will either accept it or they will reject it for more revision. They will ask you to revise it more. Maybe you didn't address all the comments of the reviewers. They will say, okay, can you please revise it more? Can you please, expand your ideas on this or that part of it? And then after that, it will be accepted and will get published. Okay, where to start? Now, after we know all of this, where to start? We have three things here that for the junior people, the people that are starting the world of publishing and publications. Go to conferences. Why do you think conferences matter? What is the value of attending a conference? What do you guys think?
Well, for me, I attended some conferences. I found it very useful because I met many people, many experts in the field that I'm belonging to. Here, for example, last year we went to Seattle. There are different types of presentation. There are different types of how they share the knowledge that they have. That give me more experience with those people, and also give more ideas how to publish, more ideas that I can write, or it's generate more ideas on my head, to go further on something.
Yes, thank you, Said, so much. So when you go to conferences, you get to meet people. Those people, some of them are scholars in the field, some of them are very experienced, they may be theorists, they may be people that publish on topics of interest to you. So it's very important. As you say, we were together last year in TESOL convention in Seattle. We met a lot of people. We got inspired by them, by their talks, by their speeches. We talked to them. We got the chance to ask them questions. To see them, because you read for them. You read for Kanagaravi. You read for Matsuda. You read for this and that. And now you get the chance to see who that person is, like face to face. You talk to him. Well, what this does is really inspires you. Like, I want to be like those people, even better, So I will buckle down. I will write. I will do something. Okay. Start with a book review. Book reviews are usually, I would consider it step number one if you want to publish. Like the first piece for you that should be published is a book review, because that's where to start. For the book review, there are two ways to do that. For us, I'm talking about our own field, TESOL and Applied Linguistics people. Number one is you pick the book yourself. Just like any book you think of interest to you, you really like it, you can read it and review it, and you can pick like a journal and send it to that journal. The other option is go to linguistlist.org. I publish those people. Well, I follow the two ways that I'm talking about. If you go to linguistlist, okay, That's like a flagship website in applied linguistics. Even if you need to look for a job, they have a list of jobs. Keeps updated like almost every 2 hours or so. It's very up to date. Okay, so when you go here, they have what they call, you have to sign up first, okay? But then after you sign, so this is the website, you sign up for the website, okay? Create an account, have a username and a password, and then after that, they have an option to request a book to review. But the way they do it is they, like every month, they have their own list. So you go, you see the list, and you pick 3. Like you read it, say, okay, well I can review this one, and this one, okay? And then you have to also submit your CV to talk about your credentials. Why do you think you're able to review these books, okay? And then they will respond to you like in a week or 2 weeks, and they say, okay, well they may give you the 3 books, they may give you only 1 book. Like my very first experience back in 2015 when I did this one, when I picked 3 books, they only like sent me 1. And also they sent you, this is very good, they send you a hard copy of the book itself, because all the books are really new and expensive. Like you may buy it for like $50 or $90. But they sent me a hard copy of that book, and then I read it, I reviewed it, and I sent it. They gave me revisions, I did the revisions, I sent it back, and then they published it, okay? And then they say, okay, well, you can keep it. The book that I published, if you go here, for example, let me say, Consciousness and Second Language Learning, say Amazon, for example. That's the book, that's my very first experience with book reviewing. See, the price for that book is $130. The hardcover is so expensive. So they send me the hard copy, but I still have it in my home library. Guess what? If you scroll down here, and I'm not sure how that happened, it's good, it's not bad. If you scroll down here, you see my name. This is my name. Mohammed Yaqub, Missouri State University. I did that back in 2015. Okay, so that's part of my review. So what happens is you find your review like in different places, like Amazon or other websites that sell books. They use your review, even without asking me. Like no one asked me, can we use your review or not, but they used it on Amazon. So if you want to buy that book, you can go and read my review and what I said about that book. So it's really, it's worth it, you know what I mean? Okay, so now we covered the 2 ways of, if you want to write a review for a book, you choose it yourself, you buy the book or request it from your university library, you read it, you review it, and then you send it for publication. Or the other way is through Linguist List, they will publish it for you. When you write a book review, try to be creative, because reviewing the book is not only a summary, is it? It's not only that. But you have to maybe critique it, you have to maybe expand the idea, you know. You do more than only summarizing the book. We're not talking about book reviews today, but I mean, when you think about it, if you want really have good chances of, you know, having your book review accepted, think about how to review a book. It's not only a summary. If you summarize a book and send it, probably they will not accept it. The other thing is reflections. What is reflection? What do we mean by reflection? Okay. Now, let's say you have read an article and you really like it. You really like the argument. Or maybe you don't like it. And you have a reason for that. You have a reason why you like it, and you have a reason why you don't like it. Maybe you think the argument is not valid. Or maybe you can personally relate to the argument, you know, and you really like it. So you can write a reflection on that paper and send it in the same journal. If we go, for example, let's try going to what? I'm not sure if I can do that or not, but let's try Journal of Second Language Writing. So I have to go to more than one journal. Okay. Library, IUP library. Let me show you that. That's very good. Okay. Find e-journals. Of second language writing. Okay, so that's the journal. We need to sign in. Volume 40, that's like the latest they have. This one, 38. Okay, what do you guys see here? What is the first section here? You see that's a volume. Usually, Journal of Second Language Writing, TESOL Quarterly, and other journals like that, they have 3 volumes per year. One in March, and the second one in June, not June, but June the month. I'm just kidding. And the third one in September, and then the last one in December, no, 4. Did I say 3? So 4 volumes. It's better, like if you are in the field, it's a very good advice and recommendation that you keep yourself updated. Like you go every 3 months, okay, go to these journals and update yourself. Like read the most recent articles that are published there. The first section you can see here is the articles. These are like full length articles. We'll be talking about them in a minute. And then the second section is what? That's book reviews. That's one of the options I was talking about when I said you can review a book. You just review it and then send it for publication. Okay? Book reviews, and then the third one is annotated bibliography. That's really an easy one. I don't want to say easy, but like maybe more feasible than articles, because like in bibliography, what they, like this very journal Second Language Writing, what they do is they publish annotated bibliography for all the articles that have been published on the topic of second language writing in any journal. So if you are specialized in second language writing and you read the bibliography, you literally know every piece that is published on second language writing anywhere, not only this journal, but anywhere through the annotated bibliography. You can see that. It's so interesting, it's so nice. I mean, it keeps you updated. If you are interested in second language writing, anyway, as I said, it's so small. Yeah. Okay, like you look at this one, okay? So that's the article, and then the annotation, like 3 lines, and then the next one, and then the annotation, and then the third one, and then the annotation, and so on and so forth. How many pages? Like 7 pages. Okay? Tony Silva. You guys, Tony Silva? Do you know him? He's like, who doesn't know Tony Silva in TESOL and Applied Linguistics? He's like very big, famous person in our field, right? You know Matsuda? He's Matsuda's teacher. Okay. So Tony Silva and 2 of his students, I believe, they do this from July to September, every volume, they publish this bibliography and they keep you updated about all the articles that were published about this topic. Okay, let me get back here. You scroll down, this is what I was talking about, the disciplinary dialogues. Or some people, like some journals call it dialogues, some journals call it reflections, okay? Like the one I published was in the Journal of Language, Identity, and Education, but they named it Reflections, okay? So what happens here, look like Fang Shu and Matsuda, Leanne, Evermark, etc., etc. What they do is like they reflect on something, or they talk about a topic. For this dialogue, it's not only a reflection, actually they expanded the idea. You can come up with an idea and open the doors for dialogue, so you can have a scholarly dialogue with other scholars in the field. So that's one, I believe, it could be a little bit easier than publishing a full-length article. Let me get back here. Okay, now how to choose a journal. What are your standards when it comes to choosing, did I say journey? Journal. Well, choosing a journal is a journey, right? Because you submit, you get feedback, you work on your feed, so it's a journey. Okay, what are your standards when it comes to selecting, choosing a journal? Sure? Would you like to answer that? No? He's a polite guy.
So,
okay.
I think it will be first, it's related to my field.
Okay.
Also, like, it's one, or should be one of the most popular journals that is read by many scholars, or many scholars are writing in that journal, you know, because the more people, like more figure people writing in that journal will be read by more people, you know.
Right, yeah, exactly. So maybe it's like a top tier journal, it's a good journal, it's a journal that publishes a lot of articles that you yourself read, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's a journal that is known in the field. But also, some people care about the impact factor. What is impact factor? Well, impact factor for a journal, every single journal that is good journal. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about those junk journals. So we'll be talking about the junk journals in a second. But for the good journals, there's what is called the impact factor. And the impact factor is the frequency of papers published, like how many times are these published papers mentioned in other papers, okay? How they calculate that in the previous 2 years, okay? Like if 1,000 citations in 2007 for 100 articles published in a journal in 2005 and 6, then the impact factor would be 10. I'll show you an example here. When you look for a journal, look for the impact factor. Again, impact factor tells you how well known or how famous this journal is. Do people in the field know this journal? Do people in the field read articles that are published in this journal? Are the people that publish in this journal citable? They get cited in other articles or not? And they give you the number. So the example I have for you here, and the impact factor is calculated in the previous 2 years of like each year, like for 2017, we calculate the impact factor by adding up 2015 and 2016. How many people cited papers published in that journal in 2017? Okay? If the impact factor is 10, that's wonderful. That's like...
So
there is not, I don't think... I'm sorry, say, go ahead.
Is 10 the highest rank, for example? Or
well, there's no highest or lowest. It's just like, it's a number that's indicative. What I mean here is, in applied linguistics and TESOLs, we don't have this number. Mm-hmm. Like number 10, we don't even know it. Even number 5, we don't even know it. What are the top tier journals you guys know in our field? Can you mention 1 or 2 journals that are really famous, like the top ones? Sorry?
TESOL Quarterly.
TESOL Quarterly, okay. Okay, let's see the impact factor for TESOL Quarterly, which is like a big name. Or second, what is that? The Journal Second Language Writing. Let's go to this link. I put this link so we can look at some numbers here. Okay, so that's the impact factor for our own field. The journals in our own field. Where's TESOL Quarterly? Where is that? 1.3. That's the impact factor. It's 1.3. Journal of Second Language Writing is a little bit better, by the way, because TESOL Quarterly came 28th in this ranking, or in this rank. Journal of Second Language Writing came 12 with 1.9 impact factor. You see it? So that's one of the reasons people look for. If you want to publish in a journal, go to this link, put it here. If you don't find it here, it's a junk journal. Don't even publish in it. Okay?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What is this website we are looking at? It's all about the journals in social sciences, or
it's about all journals in all fields of knowledge. But this particular link is for our own field, the TESOL and Applied Linguistics. Look at this one, Language and Linguistics. You can have accounting, aging, analysis, anatomy, anthropology, psychology, archaeology. Oh, I chose language and linguistics. Okay? You can, by the way, you can download the whole data here. So, okay, download it. You can have the file, and you can open your file. You can spend some good time here looking up a journal if you want. Okay? Okay. Let me get here. In TESOL and Applied Linguistics, how many journals are out there in TESOL and Applied Linguistics? How many journals do you guys think? 20, 25, 50, 70? Okay, let's see. According to Michael Lizard Clauston, I may mispronounce his name, there are 710 periodicals in our field. 710. Well, even if you, he published, I'm going to show you his paper that he counted these periodicals like a year ago or 2 years ago, I believe. Maybe now there are 1,000. Let's click on that. Get back here. Where is that? Yeah. Okay. You can read it here. You can see all the, yeah, it's this one. Annual Review of South Asian, all the journals in our fields. Okay. When you think of publishing, this is really important. I would say if you step out of this room after I finish with one idea, it would be this idea. There are two types of journals in our field. When you have a piece you want to send out for publication, think about this. What are these two types? Any guessing? Anyone wants to guess? The teaching journals and the academic, the research journals. Think about it. Before you send it out for publication, ask yourself this question. Is my piece teaching-based paper or research-based paper? Because these are really different, completely different. For the teaching journals, okay, and see it's based, or it's intended for classroom teachers. The length of the paper is around 3,000 to 4,000 words. Fewer references. You don't rely on research, because you're going to have like a study in it, right? And these are examples of the teaching-based journals. It's a good idea to start with them. The ELT journal, the English Teaching Forum, the ELTWO, the Modern English Teacher, the English Australia Journal, and the TESOL Journal. These are teaching-based journals, okay? And they are easier to find your way in a teaching journal than in a research journal. And academic journals or research journals, they are research-oriented, okay? You have to write between 5,000 to 7,000 words. You have to have a lot of references, okay? You have to write it really well, and it should be written academically. Examples of this would be Applied Linguistics Journal, Language Learning, TESOL Quarterly, Language Teaching, Research. These are examples of the academic or the research journals. When you said something, you might also want to look at the rejection rate. What is rejection rate? What is that? Like how many
manuscript was rejected?
Right. How many manuscripts they reject?
But how
compared to how many are submitted?
But does that? I mean, do they mention that in their website?
Some journals do.
It's almost between the author and the journal itself.
But they don't mention your name. They just say the rejection rate or the acceptance rate.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at some statistics here. Is that too small?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about the acceptance rate. 15 to 20, that means the rejection rate is 80 to 85%. English language teaching, the 10% they accepted, that means the rejection rate is 90%. Look at TESOL Quarterly, 8.5. That's their acceptance rate. That means what? The rejection rate is 91.5, right? And like every 100 manuscripts that are submitted to them, they reject 91 or 92. That's like an average, okay? So that's also one of the things, if you want to know how hard it is to get into that journal, it's good to look for rejection or acceptance rate if you can find it on their website. For the rejection reasons, there are many reasons for that, but these are just few of them. Submission of papers which are clearly out of scope. It doesn't fall into the scope of the journal. Failure to format the paper according to the guide for the authors. You know, every journal they have guide for authors. Read it. See what they expect from you. Okay? Inappropriate or no suggested reviewers, because when you submit your manuscript, I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, you can suggest reviewers. You can say, I want my piece to be reviewed by so-and-so. Mm-hmm. But so-and-so shouldn't be your friends or your family members. They should be people that are known in the field. Okay? Inadequate English. Your English is not, is not good. There's a lot of flaws. Or you resubmit or reject manuscript without revision, you don't revise it. Okay? Your topic is not developed well, your argument is not supported. All of these are reasons for rejections. Now, what are the top 7 journals in our field? Now, we know the teaching journals, the research-based journals. I've given you some examples. Now, these are the top, according to the same study, which is Edward 2007. Well, it's a little bit outdated, but not like 10 years ago, but pretty much still the same. Those are the top 7 journals in our field. The Applied Linguistics Journal, the English Language Teaching Journal, Journal of Second Language Writing, Language Learning, Modern Language Journal, Studies in Second Language Acquisition, and TESOL Quarterly. Those 7 are the top 7 in our field. Okay. These are examples of teaching-based. I was telling you about the teaching-based versus the research-based. These are some of the teaching-based ones. The English Australia Journal, English Language Teacher Education and Development, English Teaching Forum, TESOL in Context, the New English Teacher, the Language Teacher. These are teaching-based journals they are easier to get in if you're starting to publish. These are even easier because they're newer, so they are even easier than the one that I just mentioned. Accents, Asia, Beyond Words, ELTWO, European Journal of Applied Linguistics and TELF, Indonesian Journal of Applied Linguistics, International Journal of Innovation in English Language Teaching, Language Education in Asia, Voices in Asia. These are easier to get into. And be careful. Be careful of what? If the journal charges you a fee, don't publish in it. Don't publish in a journal that charges any fee. Because journals should not charge any fees. Those that charge fees, they're junk journals. Okay? So these are all free. I mean, you don't have to pay anything when you, as far as I know. I'm not familiar with all of them. Okay, this is a link for the predatory journals, the junk journals I was telling you about. If you want to publish in a journal, check it here. If it is listed here, just simply don't publish in it. It's a very long list. And this list is called what? The predatory, like they prey you, like as a victim. That's what the word means. Okay? So that's a list of these junk journals that is better to keep away from. Okay, some quick tips here. Suggest potential reviewers, as I just mentioned a minute ago, that when you submit it, suggest 1, 2, 3, or 4 reviewers that you want to read your paper. You revise it after you submit it. This is an example of how you revise it. Okay, so for example, if the referee gives you a comment like too long and too little about rationale in the abstract, some repetition, some jargon presented without explanation, like SL and H0, you have to address every single comment that they give you. Like they give you the comment, you address it. If you are convinced of what they said, you just tell them that you have done what they said. If you don't agree with them, just tell them that you don't agree with them and give the reason why you don't agree with them. Like look at this one, for example. We don't agree that this term will confuse readers, okay, because here it says it will give readers confusion because it's not explained well. But when the author responded, they said, we don't agree that this term will confuse readers as it is commonly used. So those who will read it, they will know what that abbreviation means, for example. Okay, so you have to adequately respond to all the comments that they give you. For the ethical issues, be careful of any misconduct like plagiarism, duplicate submission, lack of acknowledgement, conflict of interest. What happens, let me ask you this question. What happens if you send a plagiarized paper? Like, you download it from somewhere, you delete the name of the real author or authors, you put your name, and you send it for another journal. What can happen?
It can be sued by the journal or me, or maybe by the author himself.
That's one of the consequences, right? Yeah.
Maybe also I might not get chance to maybe publish in our journals, I suppose.
Exactly. One of the very bad and serious consequences is the shame and the stigma. You will be stigmatized. Look at this one. Someone sent a paper for publication that was plagiarized. What happened? They put it online, that journal, with this big red word, retracted, and they put the reason. This article is virtually identical to previously published article. So everyone that reads this, those people, I'm not going to read their names. I even shouldn't have put their names there. But they know that those people plagiarized. Who's going to trust them? I mean, if they apply for a job in a university, and the university sees this, will the university accept them or some institution? Probably not. Because they will question their ethics. You tried to publish something that was already published by someone else, right? So why should I trust you now? So it's very problematic. It's very dangerous to even try this. Multiple submissions. When you send out a paper to be published for a journal, should you wait until you hear back, or is it good to save some time and send the same paper to 2 or 3 journals at the same time and see which one is going to respond faster? How about that? Is that a good idea? Can you send your paper to more than one journal at the same time?
I think in our letter to the editor, we say that this will be only sent to the
Right.
journal. It will not be sent, or it's not in the journal.
Yeah, it was
So,
not
to be
published
honest
before,
Yeah,
and it's not under review at
Yeah.
any journal, right?
so it's a part
Yeah.
of honest and
Right, you have to be honest. Only send it to one journal. When they give you the decision, if they reject it, now you can send it with some revision, you can send it to another journal, but don't send it to more than one journal at the same time. Look at what this editor says. Okay, multiple submissions save you time, but waste editors and reviewers' time. You want to save yourself time, but you waste their time. It's considered to be unethical. We have thrown out a paper when an author was caught doing this. I believe that the other journal did the same thing. Like the 2 journals would throw away your paper because you send it to both of them. Just send it to one. Okay, so summarizing, I would recommend that you guys pay attention to how you design your paper, write something good, write something that you're satisfied with, review it yourself first, give it to someone else to read it for you, to give you suggestions, further up the ideas, send it for the journal. Be smart when it comes to selecting a journal. Don't select just any journal. Have a rationale. Why do you want that journal? And mention that rationale to the editor in the cover letter that you will send it to them. Okay, respond carefully and positively to the reviewer's comments, okay? And highlight the significance and the importance of your paper. Okay, I think I'm done. It's pretty much like 45 minutes now, or maybe more. Any questions? Yes?
So we talked about these junk journals. What if we published one already? Well, I kind of have from my master's, and now I regret it.
Okay.
But what is the consequence of this?
Well, thank you for asking this question. I was a victim to one of these journals after I finished my master's, and I sent it out for publication. And that time I wanted something easy and fast, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I found a journal that charged me $50 to publish it, so I paid the fee. And the very next week, they accepted my paper. Yeah. Well, I sent the paper to a journal called Lingua. They took like 9 months to respond to me. So they're really good journals. They take long time to respond to you. Anyways, so they published the paper, and I regretted that. When I came to the PhD program, and I said, I wish I didn't do that, or I wish I hadn't done that. What should I do now? So I emailed them. I said, please remove it. I don't want to see it published. I changed my ideas, and I disagree with what I have published, partially. They said no. I mean, if you want to do that, you have to pay a penalty fee. $900. They say if you pay $900, we'll go ahead and remove it. But for like real consequences, it won't have any bad effect on you because it won't harm you. You know what I mean? Even like if someone talks to you about it, they say, "I saw something published for you that was really not developed enough," or "How come you published something like that?" You say, that reflects who I was like 10 years ago. It doesn't reflect who I am now. You know, people develop, we change. You know.
And the more we learn about the journals, the more we know that some journals are weak, we should not publish them, and some are good that we should go beyond that. So that was an experience, and then
right,
Yeah.
it's an experience. Yeah. Now you can warn other people, right?
right.
Yeah. Okay. Jude, do you have a question?
Question? How do you try to have a little more confidence when you try to submit your journal, article to journal? Because this is my problem. I think I'm satisfied with my paper, my writing, my topic, but I have never felt like I'm confident enough to submit my paper to the journal.
Yeah, that happens. You know, we have a famous author in Egypt. He passed away. He was a novelist. Najib Mahfouz, you know him, Said?
Yes.
Okay, that guy like passed away maybe 20, 30 years ago, I'm not sure. Anyways, he's one of the greatest writers in the history of Egypt, in the like modern history of Egypt. I read for him, he said that when I write something, I never read it because I'm not satisfied with what I write. I don't like it. I feel it's not good. But other people like it, you know? I don't like it, but other people like it. So I would say the same. Yeah, I know that, well, you spend some time. You have read papers and you use references, but when you read it again, you may not feel very satisfied with it, but send it out. If you think you spent a good amount of time on it, you know, you revised it, you did everything possible you can do, you give it to people around you, they read it, they give you some suggestions, and there is nothing else you can do, but still you're not very satisfied, send it out. That happened with me. I sent a reflection paper that was reflecting on another paper, and I wasn't satisfied with it. Like, I thought it wasn't good. 4 months later, they responded to me. They really liked it. They say, "Wow, it's so good. Just do these revisions and send it again." And I did the revisions and I sent it back again and they published it. You know? So sometimes don't judge it, you know? Because some people, what they do is what? They don't like what they write, so they put it aside. Well, what happens if you put it aside? Nothing. Just try to send it. Well, at least to one of the journals that we mentioned that are easier to get into. Okay, guys, well, thank you so much. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think maybe regarding sending the journals, I think we can stop after writing the manuscript ourselves, give ourselves time, and then look at it from different perspective. Look at it as someone sent it to you to review it. Be critique as much as you can on that paper. Forget that it was written by you. You will find the weaknesses or the strengths on that paper, and then you can change it. After that, I suppose you can give it to someone to read, or you just send it to some journals, you know, and get their feedback. It could be, as Muhammad, they will say, "Wow, this is a very good journal, so it will be published with some revision," you know. Or sometimes they'll say, "It can be published." That gives you more, you know, self-confidence. Next time you do the same process. Right.
Okay.
So, just 1 minute, John.
Oh, is that for me?
Yes, of course.
So even-
So it's a way to say thank you to Dr. Muhammad, inshallah. Thank you very much, Muhammad. It's for appreciation for your contribution to the city. Thank you very much, Muhammad.